Simple as that. And you have the Crevice Sucker. Check him out. So these are holes in the bedrock. What's up? This is Kiwi Gold Hunter here. Welcome to my channel. So today I'm finally going to show you guys how I make my Crevice Sucker 3500. Now it's a handy piece of kit. I take it out with me every trip. I don't always use it, but when I do need it, it's good to have it there, and it works a treat. So it's good for all those tight spots where you can't quite get your fingers in there, or you can't get the trowel or a shovel into a location, or even a tight crevice which you can see loose material in, and you just need to suck it out. So it's pretty easy to assemble. So the one I'm going to show you today is the one that I use. It's easily modifiable, so you can jump online and check out all the other different types of builds and whatnot. But I struggled to find something with metric dimensions for here in New Zealand, so gonna show you how I make my one and show you all the bits you need for it. Alright, let's get into it. So here we have the bare minimum tools we need to build this Crevice Sucker 3500. So you have a drill with a drill bit, big enough to fit the screws that you're going to fit into the Crevice Sucker. You need a tape measure. I don't know what this thing's called, but I'm just going to call it a hole punch. I'm not too sure what it is. Drill piece to drill holes. I'm not too sure what it's called, sorry. Screwdriver, in my case a Phillips, a marker pen, some scissors, and a saw to cut your PVC pipe. Any saw will do, really. Okay, so now we have the actual consumable materials that you're going to use to build this Crevice Sucker 3500. So you're going to want to go down and buy a 40mm length of PVC pipe. Now these usually come sold in 1 meter length, so just buy 1 meter length of the 40mm PVC pipe. You then want to go and buy a 20mm diameter PVC pipe. So this is going to be your internals and your handles, and this is going to be your outer shell. You'll then want to go and buy a slip-on end cap end plug, a female slip-on, to go onto your 20mm. A 45-degree elbow to also go onto your 20mm. A 40mm slip-on female end cap end plug to go onto your larger diameter pipe. You want to get a 20mm valve takeoff adapter, which goes onto the end of your 20mm diameter pipe and is slip-on female one end and male threaded on the other end. You're then going to want a 20mm diameter threaded female end cap end plug, which screws onto your valve takeoff adapter. A valve reducer coupling, a reducer coupling from your 40mm diameter down to a 20mm fitting, and then a 20mm coupling which fits into the end of this reducer coupling. Last but not least, the last three items, some pipe insulation. You buy this in about 1 or 2 meter lengths. Mine are 10 megas where I got mine on. Some screws, I've got Phillips, just tiny screws. They don't need to be very big. And some electrical tape. So here's your shopping list one more time. You may want to take a screenshot at the end of the list so you've got an actual image there of the materials you need to go out and buy to build the Crevice Sucker. So you've got your 40mm diameter pipe, 1 meter length, your 20mm diameter pipe, 1 meter length, your 20mm slip-on end cap, female, your 20mm slip-on elbow, 45 degree, your 40mm diameter end cap end plug, slip-on, your 20mm valve takeoff adapter, slip-on and male threaded at the other end, your 20mm diameter end cap end plug, threaded, female, your 40mm to 20mm reducer coupling, and then your 20mm coupling, your pipe insulation, your screws, and some electrical tape. So take a screenshot of that so you can put that in your pocket and take it down to the shop and buy all the bits and pieces you need. Now that you've got all your pieces, you are then going to want to grab your 40mm pipe, measure it up to 600mm. Then mark that up and cut that piece. Now you've got your 600m length body there. You're then going to want to get your 20mm piece, mark that up at 600mm. Oh. Again at 250mm. Sorry, had that in my mouth. 250mm. And then the last measurement you want is 120mm. Then go ahead and cut those pieces up. You're then going to want to grab your 40mm end cap end plug and and drill a hole to fit the 20mm pipe through the top of there. So now you've got a hole to fit 20mm pipe through, nice and tight. Okay, now that you've gone out and you've bought all your materials you need and you've cut them to the dimensions they need to be and drilled the hole on the top of your 40mm end plug, you're ready to start assembling it together. Now this is the easy part, it's pretty simple. So first thing you're going to want to do is grab your 20mm 600mm length of pipe and put your valve takeoff adapter onto the end of this. You're then going to want to grab your drill and drill a hole through there to fit your screws. So you only need 3 screws for this build. You can put more in it if you want. It's very customizable. So now you put your screw through the end of that. Now this is going to be the plunger. You'll see soon, it'll all start to piece together. So you've got your 600mm length, your valve takeoff adapter. You're then going to want to cut yourself 10mm of this pipe insulation. You don't need much. And it's good to have this in your pack or whatever when you're out in the field, because you need to replace these every now and then. So then you just put the 10mm section there on the end of your valve takeoff adapter. You then grab your 20mm threaded end plug, screw that onto your adapter. So it's all starting to piece together now. So there you see it, there's your plunger. That's what's going to be sucking up the goods. Grab your pipe insulation tape, your electrical tape, sorry, getting a bit tongue twisted here. So, and then just wrap that up to give it a nice plunger body. Now take plenty of tape with you out in the field because this shrinks when it gets water and stuff and it's being put to use, it changes sides. So sometimes you've got to pull apart the Crevice Sucker and put a bit of seal on there. So you can test it in here. That's a good seal. So now that you've gotten this far, grab your 40mm end plug with the hole drilled through it. Slip that on. So you've got that now screwed on so it doesn't pop off when you're in use. This screw in here is a must. And that just slips straight into there. Now put your 40mm diameter plug on, nice and tight. Screw a hole in it again. Put another screw into that. This is the second most important screw. You need these screws in here. You can PVC glue the pipe together, but then you're stuck with that configuration. So I just put a screw in. So that's not coming off. The next thing you're going to want to do is put your 45-degree elbow onto the end of that. Again, screw. And a screw in there. So you only need 3 screws for this build. You can put more screws in it if you want, but you only need three most important pieces. So you've got your screw inside on the plunger end, your screw on the end cap, and your screw on the 45. So now nothing should be getting pulled off when in use. Then grab your 120mm length of 20mm pipe, put that in the end there, and your 20mm end cap. So there we go, we've got the handle. Simple. Now last but not least, your nozzle. So you grab your reducer coupling, your 20mm coupling to fit into there, and your 250mm length of nozzle end. Now these can be whatever size you want, but mine's 250. And then that just slips onto the end, simple as that. And you have the Crevice Sucker. Easy peasy. What's up? Okay guys, so I've brought the Crevice Sucker down to a bit of a unique location today. So this location has a lot of holes in the bedrock where pebbles and stones have fallen in, and over the years the erosion has created holes that go deep down in the bedrock, forming a sort of gold trap. So going to show you these holes today and demonstrate the Crevice Sucker in use, and hopefully get some good footage for you so you can understand what the Crevice Sucker is good for. Alright, let's get into it. So these are the unique formations that I was talking about. So these are holes in the bedrock that are caused by little stones and little rocks falling into little indentations, and over the years circling around in the current, moving about and eroding holes out. So the aim is to get in these holes and see if there's any gold, because gold's heavy and it falls to the lowest part of a stream, and these are good little gold traps. So we're going to get in there and I'm going to demonstrate the Crevice Sucker for you, see if there's anything in here. to get some pretty stubborn rocks in there. So I'm going to use my little spoon to hopefully wiggle some of these ones out. There's another big one in here. Okay, so I got some stubborn rocks in these holes there. They've been wedged in. Quite difficult to get out, so it's taking me longer than I wanted. Oh yes, I finally got it out. Where'd you get this bigger one? Good try not to fall in these holes now. So I've dug out 4 of the holes, no gold so far, so now I'm going to get the Crevice Sucker and put that down to the bottom of the hole to get all the stuff I can't get with the shovel, and that should pull out the last of these holes. If I don't get anything in these 4 holes, I'm not going to continue because it's bloody freezing. Alright. There's nothing in the bottom of these 4 holes, then I'm going to move on because I'm freezing. Ooh. Nothing. So I dug out the 1, 2, 3, 4 holes today. Not a single speck of gold in either of them. And it's getting too cold to be in the water there. So no gold here, but that was the Crevice Sucker I used. So hopefully I got some good footage there so you can understand what it's good for. Alright, carry on, see what else I can find. What a cold day that was. Well, unfortunately no gold today, so no shinies for this video, but hopefully that was a good enough demonstration of the Crevice Sucker 3500 in use. And hopefully that was enough information for you to go out there and build your own Crevice Sucker. I'd like to see a few more in the field and get some feedback on your builds. Modifications, so these are very easily modified, so you can put little gold traps onto them and all sorts of different bits and bobs. So it'd be cool if any of you out there with any experience with these or years of use, for any ideas on any modifications I can add onto my own to get better results from it. But that's the Crevice Sucker 3500. I just tagged mine up with a bunch of stickers, sticker overload. But yes, perfect for getting that gold out of those tight spots. Hope you enjoyed the video, and please like, follow and subscribe. Ciao!